So when I go into a situation, whether it's I might be going into a new venue, working on an event, or it may be something like the Jazz Fest, which is a large outdoor site, I have to just start collecting this information and figuring out what I'm going to do to secure it. And one of the big things is crowd control. The first questions you're going to ask are, how many people are we going to expect at this event? You have to know that to start planning something. If you're dealing with a venue, you might want to ask, what's the capacity of the venue? How many tickets are you going to sell? Those are the first things you need to know in order to start planning for your security. You're going to want to know what your liabilities are. You're going to want to look around and say, in the case of an outdoor venue, what are the potential hazards that you have to deal with? You're responsible for providing a safe environment for the patrons that go there, for the performers that are there, and as well as the staff that are working there. So you have to look at all of that, and you have to know that you are covered with, say, insurance. So if something does happen, you're not going to lose the shirt off your back because you don't have insurance. And just because you're not guilty of something doesn't mean that somebody can't sue you. So if you do get involved in a lawsuit, you do have to defend yourself. And if you don't have insurance, that's going to be a lot tougher. Safety is a big issue. Looking around, again, hazards. What do I have to do to make this event safe? And that applies to everywhere you go. Since I've been doing this for so long, everywhere I go, I look and I notice things like if doors are chained locked, if there's stuff stacked up in hallways, just little basic everyday stuff, but it could make a big difference in the case of something bad happening. And it doesn't matter if it's a small venue or if it's could be the Superdome. So I have to figure out I have to plan for emergencies. You always have to plan and have be ready for an emergency. You can try to think about all the things that could happen, and then you have to be prepared for those things that you didn't think about and how you're going to apply your emergency plan so that it works for that situation as well. You have to look at any threats you might have. Unfortunately, in this day and age, we have to think about terrorism. And terrorism isn't necessarily just that guy with a bomb on an airplane. It could be, somebody that just wants to disrupt the event, cause panic, may or may not be out to hurt somebody, but just disrupt the event in general. You might have to deal with protesters. We've had protesters at Jazz Fest. It just, you never know what the political climate is going on, and you have to be aware of that and know how to deal with it. Bad weather is a threat for an outdoor event. You have to have a plan and be prepared for any bad weather. You have to be prepared for unhappy fans. If something happens and people come into a show and something happened outside and they're not happy, that's going to change the whole environment. So you have to be prepared for that. I also think about how people are going to be admitted to an event. Are there going to be lines building up outside? How many entrances am I going to need, or how many entrances does a venue have, and are they providing? So that, again, I want my fans to be happy. I don't want them showing up, standing outside in the rain, getting in late, that sort of thing. That's all things that you would be taking into consideration. I'm going to be looking at other secure areas. Do I need a secure backstage? Do I need dressing rooms? What amenities does the venue have, or what amenities do I need to bring in so that I can provide all that stuff, and how am I going to secure that stuff? Do I need fencing and numbers of security and all those types of things? And another thing that everyone now has to be aware of is the venue or site accessible? The Americans with Disabilities Act requires that everything be accessible to everyone, whether they're in a wheelchair or have some other kind of disability. So that certainly is something that I have to be aware of when I go into a venue or plan a site. I have to make sure that it's accessible everywhere.